Morning, everybody. Well, what's old Rayzer up to this morning? Well, I'm shamelessly advertising for my good buddy Doc. Not that I've got a man crush, but man, this guy is the dude. I'm going to recommend quite a few videos for the people to watch that Doc had produced. This happens to be one of them. This is one of the very first earliest videos that he talks about. His gold hog mats and the science that he's put behind making these things as active as they are. Gold hog matting is always something that you're going to refine for your particular area and play with in your particular area to find out what's going to capture the best for your water flow, for your pitch angle, for your width of your sluice boxes. There's all kinds of things that go into getting the best possible capture rate using gold hog mats in your particular area.
About incremental processing and incremental exchange. Now, this is not a known term. This is actually a term that we came up with and we coined.
Yo, gold hog buddy, Ray here. So what am I doing tonight? Well, we got Gold Rush on. It's Friday night. I got my tire setup all set back up again. We're going to run some sand. But what I want to try to do tonight is I'm going to go ahead and emphasize my new sand capture matting system that I built up. I wish I had a little bit bigger pump right now. I've only got a 1000 GPH pump, but I've got it running as hard as it can. No choke tube in the multi-sluice. I kind of wish I had a bigger pump to kind of mimic what you get down there on the beach with a really big thing. But what I want to get across tonight is, with this video, is you've seen some great pictures. I'll go ahead and put one right here with the multi-sluice. You've seen some great pictures with the multi-sluice running some big gold cleanups, you know, 1 ounce cleanups and better. Then we're going to go ahead and come all the way up here to the top. And look at that. Now I'm going to shut down the water here. And it sure looks pretty in the multi-sluice with the washer mat. But what we don't really talk about very often is the immense amount of water and the immense amount of sand that we run through the matting system, Doc's Gold Hog matting system, to catch that ultra fine gold. We're talking a lot of sand, a lot of water going through, and yet the gold hog matting at that velocity is still catching the gold. Now I have played over and over and over trying to find the ultra combination of gold hog matting with that velocity that we're running. You know, we're basically all running about a 3-inch system. I'd like to set it up to a 6-inch system, but we're going to have to play it by ear to see if I can swing that. I don't know. Because that's the maximum allowed by the state of Alaska. Right now, I've got a 3-inch system. I've had a 4-inch system, but I didn't quite have the pump system right up. So I'm going to figure out a pump system for a 6-inch, I think. Step all the way up. Too big. Anyhow, what I've got, and what I'm going to run tonight, but I'll go ahead and talk about the mats first. And this is essentially what I'm doing in the big long tom and the dredge, is I'm running a set of, well, you can't really see it, but very underneath the header is the commercial Yukon matting. This is a section of mother load mat. And then I'm going to go ahead and, so we've got a low laminar flow matting system, the first one and the second one. So now I do want to go ahead and make it move around a little bit. So I'm putting a piece of talon in there. So that kind of changing the flow again. And then I'm going right back into what I'm starting with, the Yukon and the mother load. Now, if you can kind of see the 3 different velocities of water here. Let's see if I can get this camera to go just right. And these 3 pieces. Okay, you got really big ripples right through here on the talon mat. From right here, really big, smooths out, really big, smooths out. And then it goes into the Yukon. Now the Yukon is a very smooth mat. So each one of them are going up, and you can kind of see a ripple on each one of them. And then that mother load, which is ultra smooth all the way across. and then again back into this. Now, I've set this at 11 degrees with this 1000 GPH pump, and I'm still pulling air bubbles. So this is all pretty screaming, pretty quick, almost as quick as what it would be out there on the beach. This batch of sand, this batch of sand is actually from all of Russ Rifle's diggings this summer of the plus 20 mesh, because he classifies every bit of his material to 20 mesh and finer before he runs it through his multi-sluice with the washer mat. So a 20 mesh screen essentially is an 1/8-inch screen. I'm putting this little piece on here just to capture the big rock, so it's less cleanup. So all of his 20 mesh and above is in here. There's a good chance there's some gold in it, maybe, maybe not. I'm not going to risk it. You can see that's pretty close to 5 gallons of material. What I'm going to do, pause for a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add this much gold, which is 230 grains worth of gold. 230 grains worth of 100 mesh. There's some bigger than 100 mesh, but almost all that's 100 mesh gold. I'm going to dump that. Matter of fact, let's just go ahead and do it right now. Dun, da, da, da. Like that. And we'll mix this up a bit. We're going to recapture all that gold I just dumped in there. In Rayzers and Gold Hog's ideal black sand mat system. So you guys see, I'm doing this unclassified or anything. Shells, rocks, running it all right through there. Not 1/4 inch classified or nothing. Just like it would have done when I was out there on the dredge for the long time. Let's see if I can do this here. Trying to be tricky with the camera. And watching what the heck I'm doing. Where I should have a cameraman, huh? Well, halfway down. And there's some of my gold. Let's see. I wish I could stick this in there. Puzzles me. Life's not got me running. Right there in the joint crack. For the gold. It appears as though my mother or the Yukon, though it is dancing back and forth, it seems like it's loading up quite a bit. Halfway done, there's gold in the mat. Well, we're almost done. Almost done. A bit more and then I think I'll just go ahead and pan it. I guess I won't do the washing mat. I want to test the how much is actually in this, so that's my test. Well, got a little peanut bucket down there in the bottom of this thing sure full. And that's all the stuff that's going to go through that 20 mesh screen. There's 35 gallons. I will admit I got a little tiny bit of trail of gold sitting right there in that glue joint at the bottom of the sluice. I tell you, these mother load mats right up through here are chock full. Let me shut down the water here. Let's take a look at it. Oh, wait a minute. I should turn off the TV real quick. Hold on. Actually, I'm going to go for it. Gold rush or not, I don't care. Copyright infringement. Damn it, Rusaw. I got a handy little hook up there. Well, look at all that lead up here at the top. Holy moly. And gold right beside it.
Our other generator broke down. It's actually not even supposed to run the plant.
Come on,
but
focus
it's on
in.
the hairy edge, so I got to kind of bump the screen a little bit and get it going.
Look at this first piece of mother load. Look at that. Wow.
Despite several attempts,
Okay.
Todd can't
Cleaned
get
out.
the
See what I've got.
generator to start up.
Go hog. He's the man.
You got no rhythm, right?
Well, and here is all the concentrates. That's a lot of concentrates. This is a big gold pan.
So
Look at that.
like a 16-incher, right? Oh shit! There's some gold in there, man.
There's a lot. There's some serious amount of gold in there. But I put 230 grains worth of gold in it.
You just told me he put 240 grains.
Well,
into
it was supposed to be 240 grains, but Russ Rifle skipped me.
Nah, Russ.
Russ Rifle.
Russ, pan of gold. There's a buttload of gold in there.
There's
That's
a
all we
lot
know.
of gold in there.
And so
And it's a big pan to deal with.
Ray is trying to figure out what his capture rate is, and
Out
he's
of
gonna
my new mother load
right.
Yukon mat, mother load Yukon Talon mat configuration for sands.
So you're doing that by putting a known amount of gold in there for why?
Just so I can see how good my multi-sluice works on the capture mat system. I'm testing matting is what I'm doing. I'm
Right.
testing the capture matting, I'm not testing so much the washer mat. I know the washer mat works good. I'm testing my capture matting. And so I put a known amount of gold in a bunch of sand, well, plus 20 sand, and so it has to deal with more of the bigger rocks, and without, everybody says you got to classify. I did no classification, so there was leaves, there was all kinds of nasties, bullets, sinkers, all kinds of nasties in this, and I dropped all that gold in there, and now I'm going to find out if it gets that 230 grains back, and hopefully even some more, because Russ never ran any of this.
All right.
And now there's a whole lot. I mean, that's a lot to pan.
Yeah, it's not
And
that much to pan. Jeez, Ray, come on, man. It's a big pan, but
It's a big
so
pan.
that's all plus
That's-
20, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so all of the sand in there, all the gravel, let's call it, in there is plus 20.
Right.
And then all the gold in there is powder fine, man. Powder fine.
It's 100 mesh or finer.
It's probably minus 50 anyway.
It's definitely minus 50.
It's powder fine, man. That's Juno gold.
Would you look at that? That's the stuff that all the heavies poured off into the smaller pan.
So you decided to use the smaller pan wire,
Yeah. It's just too big for my hand. I can't, in my pan and bucket, I just can't control it.
I've found that the smaller the pan, the easier it is to do it like a real good cleanup too. Like these little 10-inch pans are my favorite for doing
Holy crap.
this type of stuff. Just making a pile of it on the top of the.
That's all ultra fine gold. Doc
Man,
always talks
that's-
about ultra fine gold.
That's got to be minus 200. Most of that, man. That's really.
And
fine.
these were
It's
all
almost
caught.
liquid.
These were all caught in the first Yukon matting setup that Russ Rifle runs out there on the beach.
So all he has is Yukon from top to bottom, right?
That's all he's got.
But he's got like 30 feet of it, right?
No, only 12 feet.
What's at the bottom end of the sluice?
Actually, at the bottom end of the sluice, he actually has a little piece of carpet and riffle.
Okay.
Believe it or not, at the very end, just to check it.
Yeah, is he catching anything in that?
Not really.
Yeah, I'm sure he's catching something, but
Something, but it ain't worth it.
I'm kind of surprised because now Russ doesn't run any expanded metal on top of his Yukon,
No.
does he? It's
No.
just straight Yukon.
Straight Yukon. That's all he runs.
And all we're running through it is just sand. You know, I mean,
every bit of what you
tailings.
just seen is his gold. It's his gold and his tailings.
Yeah. Now, how long did he run to get all that, Ray? Any idea?
I'm guessing 12 runs.
12 good days then. So like 12 times
Well,
6.
he got a lot more gold than what I've got in this gold pan. He just loaned me. He just loaned me
230 grains.
Yeah, 230 grains to put into all of his plus 20s.
Okay.
Because he never actually ran any of his plus 20s through a multi-system. He never ran any of that.
He didn't run any plus 20s through his. So he sieved everything down first. Which would have included all the gold, right? Because there is 0 plus 20 gold out there, right? I've never seen any. I mean, we've taken a lot of gold off that beach, and there is
That don't
0.
happen.
Yeah, 0 plus 20.
Hoffman's
Don't
ahead
happen.
in the race.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pan it down.
Now I'll pan this down. Look at all that gold sitting right on top.
Look at that little shine,
Sitting right on top.
shiny. All right, we're gonna pan it down. See what happens.
Yeah, I didn't have the patience to pan it down last night. Not finish it. All that lead. Holy moly. And gold. Well, I'm finally back at it, and I've still got a ways to pan, but most of that gold looks like it's still there. Yeah, Rayzer's got it all panned down about as good as I can make it. Almost afraid to go ahead and dump it in the drying pan and find out how much it weighs. I sure hope the weight comes out. To be honest with you. Who dug into the sweet sight in that pot of gold? Let's dry all the water off of it and see how much it weighs. Well, that's dang good to see. Guess what? It's heavier than what I started with. I'll weigh it out here in a second. But it's only heavier by 6 grains. Alright. It's still heavier. Alright guys, let's go ahead and do a final follow-up on this video here. So my goal was to take and try my black sand capture mat that I've been working with now for quite a while. It did good. It did really good. I started out with 230 grains of gold, known gold, in a pile of about 5 gallons of sand. And not only did I capture that 230 grains back, but I also captured 6 more grains on top of that, half a gram more. Let's take a look at it. Now, what's really kind of cool is there is a few, let's see if I can get it in here, actually bigger pieces, if it'll focus in. And those may have been because he is classifying it down to that 20 mesh screen. So there is the 236 grains worth of gold. This is what the mats I'm using. Let's go ahead and get the whole picture of it. Okay, I happen to have this one piece of bedrock. I'm using that as the curl. It goes from the bedrock, and this is a mimic of what I've done with my big long tom out there on the beach. So, out there on the beach, I think generally, anyhow, it just starts out with Yukon. But anyhow, Yukon, mother lode, and then we're going to go ahead and change it up and mix it. So, We're going nice and fast. It's getting nice and fast. And then I want to bump it around some to kind of jiggle the sand and start over again. Yukon motherlode. It's kind of hard to get a little bit of a rendition on such a small box, but it gives me an idea of where I'm at with it. Now, if I was going to be giving recommendations for gold hog, for users of wanting to use gold hog matting, a lot of it depends on your water. Do you have a large amount of water? Can you run a 3-inch pump? Can you run a 2-inch pump? Water is going to determine your pitch angle and then how big of rocks you can run. If you're running the river hog, for example, and you're not classifying any finer than 1 inch, then you're going to need a screaming amount of water to move that 1-inch rock up over top of the river hog, the full ramp river hog. Now that same 1-inch rock, if you was to take and run it over top the scrubber, you may need just a little bit less water power, and it'll take and roll right over that ramp on there because it's a curved ramp, so that rock will roll over it easier. And then if you go into lower profile matting yet, it'll roll easier and easier. That goes right back to Doc's proportional force video. Another thing you got to always remember and think about, like in the video I've showed on this one, that incremental processing. Now incremental processing is going to come in where all of a sudden you got way too much material, and it's just going to slide right over it. It's not going to hit the mat and be active. You get to learn a lot of stuff from Doc, and I recommend you guys watching these videos over and over. Go back to his original days, go back to today's, because it's always, I think Doc calls it a static learning curve. Things are changing all the time. One other final thing I guess I should do. I usually don't dunk my mats in, especially the final cleanups, in a 5-gallon bucket. It's just an extra step. I'm lazy. But in the process of doing that, let's see if we can zoom in here. Now this is that last clean out. Come on, get in here and focus. Look at the little tiny pieces of gold still stuck and left over. Now had I went ahead and cleaned it in a bucket and took my time, reverse rolled it 2 different directions, it would have released that gold. It didn't stick so much, but there's still some gold stuck, even in the mother lode. But this is all minus 100 gold. So, all depends on how lazy you are and how much you're worried about every little tiny speck. If you're worried about every tiny little speck, it's going to take you a little while to clean them, but not very long. Generally, I just wash them off in a gold pan. Anyhow, I'd like to thank Gold Prospector Space. It's a fun gold gathering computer forum page. I'd like to thank Doc for his new Golden Gems Gazette magazine. It's getting a little bit more active compared to the old site. Hopefully in the upcoming months it'll even get more active. I'd like to thank I Pan for Gold, Mr. Michael over there. He's a great guy. Good gold. If you guys ever get in a really bored spot where you want to take and get some gold concentrates, you look up I Pan for Gold and you'll do good. But more importantly, for the guys that want to get out there and get the hobby, go to Gold Hog. You're not going to regret it. These mats last a long time. They're really tough, and they catch their gold. Until later, see you later. Yo, Gold Hog buddy, Rayzers signing off.